Right, good afternoon everyone, and thank you for joining us for the next instalment in our Quick Bites webinar series. So my name's Nikki Kimball, I'm the Educational Consultant at Just2Easy, and I'm going to be leading today's webinar, and we're going to be looking at the tool j2message. So just to outline the session objectives, we are going to be looking specifically at j2message, and as with all of our Quick Bite webinars, it's going to be a 15-minute tutorial. I'm going to be pretty strict on that timing. So during today's session, we are going to look at how to use just j2message. And part of that is going to be looking at sending messages to individuals. So whether that be teacher to pupil or teacher to colleague. We're also going to have a look at class discussion boards and how you can tailor those specifically to your class's needs. And there are certain different things that we can do to make sure that that target is achieved. We're going to look at recovering deleted messages, a very, very important part of using j2message. And as part of that, we are going to look at the j2message log. I am going to be offering a Q&A session at the end. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to save those. Alternatively, there's only a small group of us here today, so you can unmute your mic and ask questions as we go along if you wish. Right, without further ado, let's get into it. So j2message is our online communication tool. It is brilliant for teaching your students about how to use online communication. Which is far more prevalent nowadays than it was sort of 5 or 10 years ago. And it gives an almost walled garden environment for your students, for you to teach appropriate online behaviours. So there are two main discussion boards within j2message that your students can access. The main one being the class message boards, which we'll talk about in a second, but we can also use individual message boards. Now, you'll be glad to know that pupils cannot contact each other. There are restrictions in place. There is no pupil-to-pupil communication. Teachers can communicate with pupils through the individual message boards, and teachers can also communicate with other teachers, with your colleagues. The class message boards there is one class message board per class, per registration class, and per teaching class. Now, there are certain things that we can put into place that will restrict or open up those discussion boards however you see fit. So there are three main categories for these class message boards. So we can have a closed discussion board, and what that means is, as a teacher, you can message all the pupils that are included in that class, and it will be a one-way messaging system. So almost like you standing at the front of the class and just making an announcement. Pupils will not be able to communicate back. Further to this, we can open it up a little bit and we can allow pupil messages, and this will be a restricted discussion board. And what this would mean is, as a teacher, you can make announcements and pupils can respond to that announcement or that question or that comment, but the pupils will not be able to see other pupils' comments. So it's kind of like a two-way discussion between you and those individual pupils. Now, if a pupil makes a particularly useful comment or observation or something that you'd like to share, there is the option to share and quote that pupil's comment and share it with the rest of the class. So there is a way around that. You can still share content that is relevant. Now, lastly, what we can do is we can open up the discussion boards completely. So this would be very much like a normal online sort of communication forum where all teachers and pupils can comment freely. So there are places for all of these, and we can update and change these settings in real time. So even if you want to open up a discussion board whilst you're in class, as a teaching tool, you can then close it down should you come to the end of the lesson or the end of the school day, just to make sure that your students don't have any untoward discussions whilst unsupervised. Right, so where can we find j2message? So once you log in, you land on the Launchpad, and you can find j2message. The icon looks like this, and it will open it up like this. So just to sort of go through the interface very quickly, along the left-hand side, you've got your discussion boards. And then on the right-hand side, you'll have the current discussion board that you're in. And you'll be able to tell which discussion board it is because they're always labelled. We've got a Just Too Easy primary discussion board. So this will change according to your school. So this is your school discussion board, the first one on the top here. Now, this is a teacher-only discussion board. Pupils will not have the option to comment in this at all. And this really is a nice way of announcing whole school relevant discussions or announcements. So things like, you know, welcome back to school, or we've got an inset day tomorrow, or a non-uniform day, anything that you would normally, you know, kind of announce maybe in an assembly or something like that. You'll also have your different registration classes and your teaching classes, which we'll look at in a second. And then here you'll find, if I click here, here are the individual discussion boards. So you can see here, as a teacher, I'm logged in and all of my students and colleagues are listed. So I can click on any of these pupils and I can make a comment. So you can see I've already checked in with Harry a few times there. Now, to give you a child's perspective, so this is my student, so let's just refresh his page. We can go to individual discussion board, and you can see there are no pupils showing, it's just teachers. So your pupils can contact teachers, and we can see these are the messages from the other side. So much like you would with other online communication tools, we've got, you know, the green side and the blue side. So the blue side is the side that you're sending, and the green side is the side that you are receiving. So to go through the class discussion boards, I'm going to click on my literacy group 2. I've already sent some comments here. Now I have closed this discussion board. So you'll notice that it's closed because you can see these are the settings up here. Now this button here allows messages, and I have switched that button off. So messages from pupils are disallowed at the moment. So again, to give you a perspective from a student perspective, here we go. Go into the discussion board. He can see that message. So we're in Harry's account here. You can see that message, but you'll see the response box down here where it says type a message here has been grayed out completely. So he has no option at all to respond. He can't write anything. Now I can open that up so I can allow messages from pupils. So when I tick that box now, it shows this little padlock. So what that means is I've allowed messages from pupils, however, it is still a locked discussion. So that means my pupils can respond, but they're only responding to me. So to show you again, Harry's perspective, and we're just going to refresh that page just to show that change. So now you can see this discussion board, it's opened it up. So it does update in real time. So you can open this up and lock it down as you see fit. And Harry can respond to this. So he could just say, okay, miss. And he can hit send. So that has sent to the discussion board. It won't be visible to any other pupils. We can refresh that page and there we go. We can see that. Now, as a teacher, if I wanted to, I can reply directly to that pupil. So that would then create a one-to-one conversation. Or I can share that with the class. So by clicking on that, you can see it's quoted Harry's original comment. So it might be a really useful comment about the text. He might be answering a question, or he might be asking a question that a lot of the pupils are asking, and you just want to answer it once instead of 25 different times. So you can use that as a quote and you can respond to that. So that will use that and post that whole response. You'll notice there is a cross as well. So you can delete any messages that you find are inappropriate or unwarranted. And that is the restricted class discussion board. Now, you can open this up completely. So by clicking on the padlock and unlocking it completely, this now means that all pupils can see any other comments that other pupils are making as well. So it is a completely open discussion. Now, this might seem a bit scary, but it does definitely have a place. It is very good for teaching online communication and appropriate online behaviours. So this could be something that you're doing as part of your computing, or maybe a safeguarding issue in class. It might be that there might be some children using alternative social medias and they're not behaving appropriately out of school. So you have this forum here to be able to teach those children how we speak to each other online. Okay. So that is the open discussion forum. As I said, you can open and lock this as needed. So if you did want to just open it up for that one lesson, you can do, and then you can restrict it again. Now, lastly, showcasing deleted messages. So all users will be able to delete messages. So if they send something and they regret it, they can delete the message. You have the power to delete messages on behalf of other pupils as well. Now, the other side of things is you can recover deleted messages. So this is a very important teaching moment for students, that maybe, messages can't always, even if they're deleted, they can't, they can usually be recovered somehow. And we can click on this show deleted messages button here. And that is going to, as you can see, I deleted one earlier just to showcase. That will recover all of the deleted messages, whether they're from you or from pupils. So that's very important to point out to not only pupils, but also to colleagues, that we can recover any messages in terms of safeguarding. That really is your safeguarding net that you have there. So that can be done in any discussion board. As soon as that's ticked, it will showcase all of the messages. So you can see any message in red is a deleted message. Now, lastly, we do offer a whole school message log. Now, this is very important, maybe if you have any safeguarding issues, if maybe you have a pupil that has disclosed something through j2message and you want proof, printable proof of that message, we can generate that in an Excel grid. And that can be done by going to the J2 launch, and we can go to J2 dashboard. And within the dashboard, you'll see this J2 message log. Now, this will log every single message sent by every single user. This can be quite a big document quite quickly, depending on the size of your school. I have downloaded mine already just to showcase to you. This is what it looks like when it's downloaded. You'll be able to see who was sent and within which discussion group, and also the message itself. So as I said, if you do have anything that you need evidence for, you have that as your safeguarding net. Now, lastly, just to point out, you won't miss any messages, because you will get a notification. So much like the moderation, much like your My Files learning conversations, you will get these lovely notifications that come up on the message board. So you will know to look in j2message to check messages. If you are currently logged in, as you saw just a few seconds ago, you will get a little screen that flashes up to tell you that you have had a message and from who. So that is a whistle-stop tour of j2message. I hope you've enjoyed today's webinar. Just to highlight that all the recordings will be available via our website, which is justtooeasy.com/news. There is also a link off our website, off our Launchpad, so you can access it through the Just Too Easy button here. And you'll find a whole page here with the news section, and we have a whole section for the Quick Bite webinar series. So we will have lots and lots of these little 15-minute tutorials, as well as that you can access a whole host of other webinars longer if needs be. So I'm just going to check and see if anybody has got any questions for the end of our webinar. I'm just going to check my chat. It's looking a little quiet. If you would like to ask a question, you are more than welcome to pop it in the chat or unmute if you're feeling brave. It looks like we have no questions. So I would like to thank you for giving up your precious after school time to join us for this webinar. Please join us again. Next week's session is going to be about collaborative databases. Always exciting. So join us for that webinar and we will see you in the future.